2015 is the 40th anniversary of Forum and YPO, and as someone who had a role in forum development, you might call me a forum graybeard, I wanted to capture some of the history before it was forgotten. But I warn you, unless you're intensely interested in how forums arrived at their present state, you might have more fun watching whatever's trending on YouTube. Forum was conceived in Northern California by Jiggs Davis. He was influenced by a group called TEC, T-E-C, which stands for the Executive Committee. Parenthetically, TEC now is renamed and they're calling themselves Vistage. Note that Forum, YPO's most popular product and the #1 reason for membership renewal, wasn't created until 25 years after the organization was founded. This is an interesting lesson in continuous innovation. In 1978, this Northern California innovation went nationwide in a series of President's Forum workshops. Forum growth between 1978 and the early 80s just exploded. Joel Schiavone from New York headed the first YPO committee to try to bring structure to the forum movement. The first moderator training program was held in New York in 1982, and soon forums had spread to other regions of the world. In the mid-1980s, the Forum Committee hired Don and Bonnie Folk of Folk Limited in Toronto to research best practices and develop better moderator training. The first shift in forum thinking was developed: 3 levels of forum intimacy, which isn't much talked about these days, but right through the 1990s, everyone talked about getting their forum to level 3, the highest level of forum intimacy and sharing of innermost undisclosed thoughts. And, of course, a few hyper-competitive YPOers would brag that their forum had reached level 4. By 1988, the Forum Committee had 3 groups engaged in providing moderator training: Blanchard Training, with Cal Crafts and Don Carew; the Evans Group, with Bill Evans and Jan Lightfoot; and Folk Limited, with Don and Bonnie Folk. I was recruited to the then-named North American Forum Advisory Board by Art Scharf of St. Louis and Russ Smith of Ozarks in the early 1990s while I was still in my late 20s. I had a chance to observe some of this history. At that time, the folks were winding down their moderator training for YPO, and their spot was taken by Renee Kaufman, a YPO spouse who had pioneered spouse forums while being on the North American board. I had the privilege of auditing YPO moderator training from all 3 of these gifted trainers. I served on the forum board with some notable YPOers and spouses who went on to do some great forum training and retreat facilitation. People like Art Scharf, Terry Plockman, and Andrea Sugar. Retreat development was one of the big focuses of the 1990s. At that point, retreats were do-it-yourself affairs with very little material provided by YPO. On the board, my specialty became retreat topics. I wrote the column Advancing Retreats for the Forum Advisor, a newsletter the forum board created to share best practices. To get fresh ideas for my column, at every forum officers workshop, I would ask participants, what was your best retreat topic? And I would write up the ideas. These ideas were first compiled into the retreat planning guide, and I'm proud to say that some of these exercises still exist on the YPO website. Later, Terry Plockman and I served as co-editors in a major revision of the training manuals originally done by Don and Bonnie Folk. That revised content was combined with my earlier retreat planning guide to create the Forum Handbook, which was the last word in forum training as of 1996. Others on the board took the lead with different initiatives. Forums nationwide started asking moderator trainers to facilitate retreats. The 3 training groups were swamped and couldn't handle all the work. Our board put a major effort into identifying additional resources qualified to lead forum retreats. At this point, we identified and brought on board many of the people who are big guns today. People like Kevin McHugh, Jim Kolchanka, Jim Warner. Shortly after Kevin McHugh was brought on board for retreat work, he took over the moderator training slot vacated by the Blanchard Group. Also in the 1990s, the second big shift in forum thinking occurred. The Evans Group developed a model for a forum member to act as a coach to a forum presenter. The coach and presenter met prior to the forum meeting and sorted out how the information would be presented to the forum. This was to aid in a more focused, less rambling presentations. By the mid-1990s, YPO was rolling out the videotape training program, and it was sent to all chapter forum officers. The chapter forum officers lent the tapes to the individual forums. Of course, in true YPO fashion, once the tapes had made the rounds of the forum and they were returned to the forum officer, they were put back on the shelf and forgotten about. Several years and several forum officers later, no one in any given chapter knew where the tapes were. Another innovation promoted by the forum board of the 1990s was forum training as opposed to moderator training. Putting the whole forum through a one-day program made the moderator's job much easier. Many people don't realize all the different YPO communities that forum has been introduced to. E.A. Ford of the Bluegrass chapter started a forum for YPOers administrative assistants. It was controversial and never really caught on. I think the YPOers were afraid that their admins might be comparing wages and duties. A YPO spouse from Dallas, Gay Solomon, pioneered couples forums where you would participate in a group with your spouse. The beta testing appeared to be successful, but again, the idea was controversial and never really caught on. But spouses forums were also controversial at one time, and they have flourished over the years. The latest community to participate in forums are YPO kids from college age and up, as part of a concept under the YNG, or Next Gen Initiative. I rotated off the forum board after a 7-year run. Just after I left, the board went from a North American oversight to an international mandate. This immediately meant they needed to oversee moderator training on an international level. No small feat, and that consumed their efforts for a few years. And of course, forum development has continued. We have many more choices of retreat facilitators than ever. Recently, the third big shift in forum thinking was introduced, the 4-step exploration model. It's built around the long-time forum tenet of not giving advice, but speaking from your own experiences. It also seeks to fully explore the emotions of the presenter. One of the less well understood and appreciated parts of forum history is how the forum model has inspired other YPO products. What we now call networks started as focus forums, or SIGs, special interest groups, that were modeled on getting like-minded people together in a forum setting. Some of these groups have now morphed into online communities. Also, the M2M, or member-to-member exchange, was started by Cleveland YPOer Bill Rowley. He observed that YPOers can easily learn the availability of knowledge and therefore tap into that knowledge within a forum. But the chapter members didn't have that ready ability across forums. He started iOS, or the Inventory of Skills, just in the Cleveland chapter, so that members would know who to turn to for special guidance in specific areas. This quickly grew from the Cleveland chapter to an international database, which, as I mentioned, is now called the Member-to-Member Exchange. I wrap this up with this big idea. I think the incredible development of forum and other products inspired by forum really shows the strength of YPO. As mentioned earlier, forum was based on a non-YPO service now known as Vistage. Vistage is controlled from the top down, and as far as I can see, very little has changed from the original model. However, YPO, being member-run and driven, was embracing crowd creation within its membership before the concept of crowd creation or crowdsourcing was even known. YPOers would just come up with ideas and run with the ball. This continued member-driven development is YPO's greatest strength. And given all of the great ideas and great YPO products that have spun out of the forum concept, the title of that original forum training manual got it exactly right. Forum is the essence of YPO.